Hello everyone, and welcome back. It is time for Tier 2 racing action. We are here. It is the Misfits Racing League, the MRL, and my name is Stryfium, here from Canada, and joining me from the UK, well, it's Unicorn. Welcome back, Unicorn. How are you doing today?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Excited to see how this one goes. It's fair to say that I think Spa's been pretty action-packed so far this week, and hopefully Tier 2 here, a little bit of a shuffle in terms of who's on the grid permanently, that is. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But yeah, very excited to see how Tier 2 goes around Spa, the longest circuit. But I think it is on the F1 calendar, at least in terms of lap time. So very, very excited for tonight.
Well, of course, the 14th round of racing here, Spa-Francorchamps in the Ardennes Forest here of Belgium. And, well, next week we go to another iconic circuit. We head over to the Temple of Speed, the Italian Grand Prix. Following that, Singapore, Russia, Japan, the United States, Mexico, Brazil, and, of course, Abu Dhabi for the finale, round 22. Massive shout out to our partners, Next Level Racing. You can check them out via the link in the chat. Of course, the panel's down below. For some amazing sim racing rigs, wheel stands, they have motion sims, they have everything you really need to get yourself dialed in to take your racing to the next level. And you can find them really putting themselves ahead to help out the sim racing community and with some great quality stuff there. Now, of course, down to business for today's action. We are here for Belgium round 14. And here are the standings heading into Tier 2 racing. Of course, we've had a bit of a shuffle. You might notice we are missing Neon from the standings. Yes, last week we saw Neon take a win around Hungary. The McLaren driver has effectively been promoted. He is now going to be taking up a seat over in Tier 1, and he is switching seats with Alp, who you can see there in 20th position on the standings at the minute. But good luck to Neon. He had a fantastic week through Hungary. Of course, Unicorn, we saw him not only win Tier 2, but he took a Tier 1 win as well in a reserve seat, filling in for his countryman Richie. So we take a look at the standings. Azir, the leader, 167 points. Crampy there in second. Jake rounding out your top three. We have Scars here in the Alfa Romeo as well. Swifty J rounds out your top five in the other Red Bull. So things starting to really get spicy here now that Neon is no longer in this equation. We'll see how Alp does. Alfa Romeo, McLaren, Williams, your top three in the constructors. And with that all being said, Unicorn, we're just about ready to go racing here in Spa.
Yeah, absolutely. Just waiting on a couple more drivers to get everything locked and loaded. Fingers crossed we can get 20 drivers on this grid. But we're just waiting on a couple more people. But we've still got about a minute to go. So, still time. But yeah, without Neon here, I think it's answered a few calls from some of the other drivers here that might have been, dissuaded from that championship run with Neon being so dominant as he wants coming out of that Easter break. The question was coming out of that, could he maintain his form? He proved it was yes, and then he won 2 races last week. One being Tier 2, the other here in the other being in Tier 1. So I think he had to move up, but I think that opens up a lot of opportunity for that title front. It does sort of leave Azir right now out at the front in terms of the points on his own, but I think he's had a shaky couple of weeks, so he needs to sort of re-get his game to where it was in some of the earlier stages. But yeah, we'll see how that one goes.
Being told that I do not believe Alp will be making his debut in Tier 2 today, but that is fine. I think we have a reserve to take his place. And while we're waiting to get these final 2 drivers into this session, of course, I just want to take a moment to note we had 2 thrilling races around Spa already this week. We had Tier 3 yesterday with quite the dynamic race. Of course, Unicorn, firsthand being participant. But we had dry to light rain to heavy rain conditions, seeing pretty well almost every tire used across the grid at some point or another, which was fantastic to see. Of course, we had the Americas division take to Spa last night as well. And, well, to put it into just a few words, that was a very unique and interesting race. A race that very much reminds me of some of the racing we saw in Season 2. And, well, it wasn't the greatest of moments, I think, but we'll have to move ahead in the Americas division next week. Of course, round 15 in Monza. And I can say for myself personally, having been a participant in that one, not the best race for me. Unfortunately, I crashed, but I'm thankful to not have been involved in any of some of the other things that were going on. So hopefully in Tier 2, we see ourselves with, back to form for Misfits Racing League action here today, Unicorn.
Yeah, I think we might have to just go with 19 at the moment, unfortunately, but we'll just get everything locked onto invite only. But yeah, hopefully, a clean, comfortable race here around Spa, but still action-packed, as it were. But yeah, qualifying around here, with it being such a long track, very difficult, very crucial though, with, that soft tire being not as useless as it is at some of the other tracks.
We are just getting ourselves dialed into ready up here. I think we do have a reserve now who's come in. Correct me if I am wrong.
I think that's not a reserve, but apologies for the delay, ladies and gents. We did have 20 drivers sign up and ready to go, but we're just getting everything sorted now.
Very well. Apologies for the delay, ladies and gentlemen. But of course, we're just about ready to go racing here for the 14th round out of 22 here for Season 4 MRL racing action. I'm quite thrilled for this race as it's just been such a tight and solid season for Tiers 3, 2, and 1. And in Americas as well, and with the APAC division. There's been some great racing in the Asian Pacific, so very happy that Season 4 has gone the way it has. And just, of course, thank you to everybody here in the streams and in the chats who've been supporting the racing. Thank you very much.
All right, I think we're good to go. Get everything underway. Fingers crossed we can get a 20th driver at some point, but until then, everyone, if you are a Tier 2 driver, it's all time to get readied up, and we are away. Again, apologies for the delay there. We're just trying to get as many drivers as we can to make this spectacle as exciting as possible. There we are. We have everyone in that we've got available for tonight. Everyone ready, and Spa, obviously that roll of the dice, the dynamic weather. We'll see how that plays into things. It's put a spanner in the works already this week here at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. We'll see whether it can change. There's an interesting prediction as well going around in chat, whether one of the top 3 get pole here in Spa. I think a lot of favourites though, Striff. Leaning towards Scars there in an Alfa Romeo and P4 in the standings.
Well, you and I had the opportunity to speak to him beforehand, and we had an opportunity to speak to him in some pretty fast company as well. Neon had been present, and Neon has him winning the race. Now, I said to Scars, where do you put yourself? He says, podium. I said, where do you put Crampy? He says, top 5. So Scars says it's going to be a double top 5 for Alfa Romeo today with him being on the podium. We'll see what happens. Neon's got him for a win. We'll see what happens. Right now, we've got a clear session. It's looking like for this qualifying, so that is what we like to see. And we'll have to see if we get any kind of weather dynamic come race time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of sigh of reliefs for the dry qualifying. We'll see whether we can get a weather report over in the chat there, because obviously a dry qualifying does not necessarily indicate a dry race, but I'm sure that the fact that qualifying is dry will be a great sigh of relief. It's dry as well, so that will again take a little bit of the stress off of some of these drivers' shoulders. Well, I think wet weather around here is a real problem for some people.
Well, I can say just from being a participant in a dry campaign yesterday myself, that just because it's dry doesn't mean that it won't be eventful. And with this grid being as tight as it's been all season long, in this championship. You know, we're just kind of making our way through into the second half of the season here, Unicorn, where we're really starting to see things kind of tighten and tense up as these championship points start to really become all the more crucial for these drivers. You know, everyone getting a better perspective of where they might land themselves. Tuptus and Mark, the first two drivers out of the pit lane here. I think the AlphaTauri with a bit of a snap there, wanting to get out of that pit lane and get it himself out in front of the racing point. So now Mark will lead us through to potentially set the first lap of the session in the AlphaTauri.
Yeah, absolutely. We just got that 20th driver as well in. So we've got finally 20 drivers on the grid, and late reserve coming across in the form of Angel. So big shout out to him. But as we go with, you know, these outlaps, they're so long, and that can really play a role. So if you sometimes see people not making it to the line on their final run just because of how long this outlap is, and, you know, a misjudged outlap can really be a killer. But here at the start of the session, everyone just getting out as early as they can because of how long this circuit is. They want to get, you know, all 3 runs in, maybe even 4 if they want to test the mediums out, but I shouldn't think so. We've got 19 out of 20 drivers out, and the only one isn't is Angel, who's just joined the session.
Well, big shout out to Angel, of course. I'm sure a lot of fans of Angel in the chat, as well as, of course, Azir. I mean, the Spanish drivers, they have a very, very healthy and, you know, an amazing amount of support through the racing, especially here in the MRL and, of course, the IRL, the league that a lot of those drivers participate in and, you know, really do a good job in. Here we have Mark now bringing us through for the first lap, Unicorn.
Yeah, absolutely, coming up to that classic Eau Rouge de Lyon section of track, and he's there pretty cleanly through into the DRS zone now, coming out of turn 6 onto the Kemmel Straight, charging down towards turn 7 at Lake Om. Now straight in here, looking to get as much of that curb on the right utilized, and he's using it all. Get the car just turned around as much as possible. Coming out of turn 9, straight down towards into this long right-hander at turn 10, the late apex here. Getting the car turned in as exit speed as optimal as possible for this fast left-hander here. This turn 11, down towards full on now. This increasingly fast left-hander. And again, no problems through there for the AlphaTauri, now down towards turns 13 and 14. Not using all of the right-hand curb there, and it swung him a little bit wide for 14, but a nice run up into 15 might redeem that for him, but he's invalidated. It's just a touch wide on the curb there. It's one of the toughest of the, you know, track limits around here, but it's cost the AlphaTauri here. We'll hop on board instead with the Red Bull of Swifty J. He's invalidated as well, so his teammate Jake is out. Jake's out. He's crashed, and he's right in the middle of the track.
This is not good for Jake. Of course, he's in a serious fight right now for championship. There is a yellow flag sparked on circuit, and there are drivers moving through here quite rapid. There's another yellow flag and a car stopped here. What has happened to Aliens? Has he had some kind of damage? He slowed down, and I'm not sure if he hit something or what has happened here, but that is a very dangerous section of circuit for a car to be retired on track. You can see that the front end, that wheel on the front wing, nothing Jake can do. Of course, he's not in that session, you know, but the drivers with that yellow flag, we do not have ghosting enabled here in the MRL, of course, so you need to slow down when those flags appear. It is crucial, because if you do not, well, you could just very well see yourself out of this race. Aliens did in fact have damage. We're seeing lap times come through here now. Husam, Crampy, Azir, your top 3. Husam, a 41.661. He's bested the Alfa Romeo here on his first run, and, well, I don't really know how many of these runs were good to go. Jake was set to be the 3rd potential driver to set a lap, so I'm assuming all of these drivers were impeded to some capacity here, Unicorn.
Yeah, obviously on board with Jake when he crashed. That car just stopped right in the middle of turn 16, and I think that's going to have cost a few people there. And then Crampy, who, you know, a lot of people have for a good time. Darian Alfie, 141.6. There's a lot of 141.6s right now. But Crampy in particular He got a tow after the incident from Scars down into the bus stop chicane. Then, out of turn 20, the final corner, he really lost the rear, managed to get it round, but I think that lap time could have been a lot faster for him. So I expect improvement from Crampy, but everyone else, I reckon, around that sort of position on track around Crampy, those guys who was just coming in behind Jake, they will have all been impeded, like you said, to an extent. He was just off the racing line, but just seeing a car parked on that outside line, and then Tuptus as well. I think he added to the yellow flag there because he seemed to just get scared by it and went to the inside, parked it on the grass to avoid everyone else. But when everyone's trying to thread the needle between two cars that are one moving very slowly and one with a broken suspension, I think that would have impeded a lot of laps. So a lot of first run here impeded by that incident, and it's an interesting dynamic into this qualifying session, particularly for those like Crampy. We're going for the slipstream, and they might not have as many runs, but Angel, I was on board there in the Renault, flying on the mediums right now, had a big issue up by Rouge.
Yeah, I was there with you, and of course he tries to get a little bit of a cheeky toe off of Tuptus there, who's on an outlap. He sets a purple sector 1, but of course that snap coming up through the Eau Rouge Radeon complex, that's going to hinder him. But of course he's come in here as an extraordinary last-minute reserve, and massive respect to him. He's driving for Renault today, filling in for XTXP, and well, he's driving for Spain, like I'd said when he joined session. We'll see what he's able to do here for his first run. We've seen a number of drivers invalidate, so despite that little issue through Sector 1, he might just want to get a banker in here. Eruption. What a lap. It's a 41.246. The Mercedes putting himself into provisional pole position. We jump back to Angel now, coming through Sector 3.
Yeah, and Eruption's done that on 2-lap old softs as well, so I wonder whether he found himself being impeded by that incident that we've just spent a little while on, and he's just gone around again to get in a nice banker so that when he comes in this lap, he can go again. Angel is going to finish the lap out in that Renault, despite it not being the fastest it's going to be, a 1:43 flat, which isn't a terrible time on the medium tires. You know, you look at the 1:42s there on the softs, and with the issues that Angel had through Eau Rouge, it's not a bad time at all for the Renault driver, particularly given that it is on the mediums now. Right now we have Scars on a lap, Crampy just behind him, so I wonder whether Scars got a tow down the Kemmel straight. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out into his lap time, as he takes 11 at such speed, such composure as well, as he comes now down into Fuon. This long left-hander for turn 12. The timing line just after these next few sets of corners, and he's just so strong right now through here. His pace around Spa, you said it earlier, Neon having him up for the win here. His pace around here is absolutely incredible. Well, he's got no time to compare it to himself. So far, a strong-looking lap time from the Alfa Romeo. He's already had that tow down the Kemmel straight. I think that's going to be so that he can give Crampy a tow on his in-lap when Crampy starts his flyer into bus stop now for Scars. 50J goes second fastest, 1:41.4. But here goes Scars. There it is, a 1:40.7.
Yes. What a time from him. 5/10 over Eruption, the previous pole sitter here in the session, and he is going to be quite happy with that for a good run in the Alfa Romeo Tuptus now. He's on an invalidated run. We're going to jump back to the Renault Rackety. Just coming down the hill now.
Yeah, Crampy and Scars, they are going for that tow. Scars basically just stopped in Sector 1 to get his teammate behind him on the Kemmel straight. So I'll have to see what sort of lap time that presents. But like you said, Rackety in that Renault, he's flying as well. He's coming through Sector 2 now, making it nice and clean through there. Coming out, he's not set a lap time yet. One of just 5 drivers to set it, and when you're halfway through or over halfway through a Belgian qualifying, it's not a good place to be without a lap time. He's getting a little bit of a tow though from Max O'Connor ahead. The Mercedes there just getting off the racing lines, trying to avoid giving his driver a little bit of a tow, but Rackety He'll be thankful for that one. Down into the bus stop chicane he comes. It's still valid for now. Nicely navigated there as well. Not a bad exit either. DRS to the line. And there we go. 142.5 for him. Crampy's invalidated his lap somewhere. Not good news for him. The Alfa Romeo squad will be happy with Scars' performance. Crampy's struggling a little bit. Darian Alfie, who was on provisional pole for a little bit earlier in the session. He's flying in the Ferrari. We'll see where he can land himself with what's been a fairly impressive qualifying so far from him.
Well, Darian, he's been having quite the dynamic season. He's also missed a couple races. We'll see what he's able to do here. A little bit wide down through. No name, but he's able to get it valid.
Yeah, not the ideal line through there. He's still holding on, though. He's still, got that ERS in full utilization. He's still pushing here through Sector 2. Oh, but that's a big problem, and it's a big hit into the wall. He's lucky not to follow what Jake's done and end his session there.
Well,
that's not how he wants to be doing things.
I have to say, I mean, if that's exactly what Jake did earlier, I didn't have the onboard view of Jake when he did what he did, but if that's what he did and now Darian, I'll tell you, that is precisely the exact way I ended my race in the Americas division last night on the 13th lap. That turn can be tricky when you are getting on the power.
Yeah, I think we've just seen it there, two drivers already having put that in. A few new times have come in. Jean, he was P4, but he's been bumped down a couple of places by Pavel Hennes. But yeah, for two drivers to crash in the same place already in qualifying, it doesn't, help their confidence. It doesn't bode well for the race in terms of precedent. As Angel now on the soft tires. He's starting a flyer here in the Renault. Mark as well, he's flying in the AlphaTauri, and so is his teammate Yar Santiago, the other reserve here this evening on the Tier 2 grid.
Another Spanish driver in Santiago there, and, well, very solid driving from all of the Spanish drivers we've seen here so far come through the MRL. It began with Alex Bitto, and, well, it seems he's brought some of his friends to contend.
Well, as they say, no one expects the Spanish Inquisition striff. And, well, here they are in Tier 2, taking over. Or Tier 1, as it were, in Alex Bitto's case. But Mark now making his way through in the AlphaTauri. There's a few cars up ahead. We'll see if he can get it. It's also getting a little bit cloudy.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's starting to darken up here.
And a little bit of rain would really hurt those drivers. Every driver at the last, dying breath of this session. As he comes through into the bus stop chicane. Not too bad on the exit. And to the line. P10 for him, a 141.6. Again, another one of these 141.6s. We've seen that time very, very popular, it would seem, today. In terms of lap time.
Well, current gap from first all the way down to 12th position, where Azir is presently sitting, the current championship leader. Well, it's 1 second, and around Spa, that is quite tight for this grid. Another driver crossing through. That's Angel in the Renault. He's gone 8th quickest here, another 41.6.
Well, nice time from him. I'll be happy with that one.
Checking in now at the Racing Point of Tuptus, of course, the Racing Point squad with a good pedigree this season, and of course, Tier 3, Rutanius, really setting a high standard for the squad, considering he's leading the Tier 3 championship right now, the Dutch driver. Tuptus now coming through into the bus stop chicane. See what he's able to do here. This will be his first valid run now.
Yeah, Rutanius having a very, very good season in that Red Bull. But here in Tier 2, not quite the same successes that they've been seeing over in Tier 3.
Solid run out of Tutus regardless, though. 41.233, setting himself into 4th position. 2 minutes remaining on our clock. I do believe there might be an element of desync here. Aliens now coming through the chicane. The Williams driver, what's he able to do to the line? He's good for 14th. It's a 41.705.
And again, improvements are important, but 14th, not the ideal starting point here. Crampy, he's in 13th right now. He needs to find some level of improvement. His teammate Scars behind him. So he's getting ready for a tow down the Camel Straight, similar to what we've just seen, I think, from these two a moment ago. Crampy, this is his first valid lap time without an impeding collision ahead of him. So he really needs this to be fast. He's coming into the last couple of corners. Now the bus stop chicane. Out of here, a much better exit than he had last time. A little bit of a traction loss, but he goes P7, a 141.3. 3.5 tenths found on his previous best time.
Now he's really just gonna wait here, I think. As you said, Scars just behind him there, priming a tow. Let's jump on with the provisional pole sitter. He's looking to potentially improve that 40.7. Crampy, are we gonna see any tow action here? Do they bother with it? I don't think we're gonna see it. Not here anyway. Crampy's gone.
I don't think they're going to tow down coming out of 16. On that longer straight. Bit more beneficial. Crampy really hammering it down. And that might have hurt his run as well because he'll be running higher fuel. So Crampy might have a little bit more pace in that car. He's just trying to help Scars out as much as possible.
A lot of traffic coming through Sector 3 right now. The McLaren set up a tow. Henner's in. Larson now. Well, normally we'd be seeing Neon in a McLaren. Right now we're seeing Larson. And of course, he's filling in for Alp today. Henner's will begin a lap just behind him. Larson goes 4th quickest. Henner's now will be looking for that tow potentially down Kemal. Back to
Crampy's
Scars.
still going. I was expecting a tow for Scars, but he's not going to get it.
That
Very interesting.
Yeah. He is improving. Just marginally here, Scars. What's he going to do coming through the chicane? Is he going to call it into the pit lane? Okay, he is going to finish out this run. Checkered flag has been drawn now on this session. He improves by a 1/10 and a quarter, and that's going to be a 40.6 to round out his session here in the Alfa Romeo. Henner's now in the McLaren. He's currently 4th position on this timing tower. Can he break into this top 3?
Well, it's interesting to see Crampy go for that double run. I don't quite know why he did that. Maybe he just, had a really good first sector trying to get ahead of Scars and was like, hold up a minute. I need to go and push for this. I can put myself higher up the qualifying grid. You're already P1. Q-Sam won't be improving from P2, a 141 for him. He'll be satisfied with P2 right now, but we'll see, like you said, can Hennes find it? I think Pavel, he just crossed 5th fastest, breaking up the McLarens right now to take 5th, but Larson, I don't know if he's pushing again. He's not, so he is going to finish no higher than 6th. Jean as well, he was further up the timings earlier on in the session. We'll see if he can improve from P10 right now. Hennes to the line, coming out at the last corner now in that McLaren. DRS, a nice exit on the final corner. He goes P2, just under a 10th found. The Brit in that McLaren, he'll be happy with that one. Jean then, he's on for a pretty strong improvement, but with the time difference between himself and Eruption, P8 to P10 now, there's about 3 tenths. We'll see if he can find anything from this final sector. The chicane is all or nothing for him. Nice exit from the final corner to the line. There it goes, P9. He doesn't find Eruption.
A dead 3
by
tenths.
2,000ths.
Dead 3/10 improvement for him. 2,000ths of a second separating the two drivers. This grid's tight, Unicorn. And when the grid's this tight on a circuit this flowing, you never know. You never know. We're in Spa, ladies and gentlemen. And this circuit just throws everything at you when you're least expecting it, in my experience.
Yeah, I think that these drivers, you have to, really be on your toes around this track, because not only is there just the, obvious cars all around, side by side through a lot of these corners can be very tricky. But you've also got the purpose that, you know, there's a lot of these corners that you just have to get right every lap after lap, because if you don't, they're very punishing. We've seen, you know, turn 15 take, you know, Darian and Jake already in just qualifying. So a lot to be careful for the drivers, but a lot for us to look forward to.
Well, we take a look at this timing tower now. It's the South African, ladies and gentlemen, Scars, the Alfa Romeo driver, a 40.608, the time from him for pole here around Spa. Henners, the Englishman, in the McLaren, a 40.983, just shy of 4/10 off of Scars. And we have Sam rounding out the top three in the Haas, a 41.022. He is 4/10 off the pole sitter. Crampy, the other Englishman, of course, rounding out the top four for the other Alfa Romeo. And we have Pavel in fifth. But on through the rest of this grid on the formation lap.
Well, we'll see what happens. The formation lap, you know, there it is, a bit sunnier than we saw at the end of qualifying there. We've not got any rain forecast, but sometimes that weather forecast can be a little bit, you know, hit or miss. I know yesterday in Tier 3 in particular, the rain from quali was plus 45 minutes. It hit about 15 minutes into the race. So, again, I think as well, a safety car around here can really extend the race in terms of time, because it's already a fairly lengthy lap in the dry. In the wet, obviously that increases. With a safety car, it gets even slower.
Definitely, I agree with you for sure. 10 seconds counting down now. And of course, before we jump into racing action here, I would just like to take this opportunity to thank our fantastic partners, Next Level Racing. Of course, big shout out to them. Check them out via the link in the chat, and of course via the panels down below. We greatly appreciate you. Check out their website for some amazing sim racing rigs. They have light rigs, full rigs. They've got, well, wheel stands, motion sims, flight sims. They've got everything you could think of to take your experience to the next level, and they're really helping out the sim racing community as a whole. So massive shout out to them. Angel, despite his fantastic qualifying performance, due to the late join of the qualifying session, we've had this bug and we've known about it for some time. When you join that session, it will boot you in some occasions to the rear of the qualifying, which is very sad to see. But of course, taking us through this grid now, well, Unicorn, why don't you talk us through this 20 driver lineup?
Yeah, absolutely. Softs very dominant here in terms of the starting tire. We got Scars up in that top spot on the timing tire in the Alfa Romeo. P1 for him. Henners behind him in the McLaren. And then behind them, we've got Sam and Crampy on the second row. That prediction of the two Alfa Romeos being in the top five stands true in qualifying. They got 22 laps to make it stay that way. Pavel, he starts P5 in the Ferrari. The other McLaren of Larsen, he starts P6. Tuptus in the Racing Point starts 7th ahead of Eruption in 8th. John P9 and Swifty J rounds out the top 10. Then Yar Santiago and Darian Alfie, the first of the medium runners, in P11 and P12 respectively. Mark and the other AlphaTauri starts on the soft, sandwich between more medium runners. You've got Aliens and Azir, the two Williams drivers, in 14th and 15th. Max O'Connor in 16th. Lil Shen in 17th. Rackety starts mediums in 18th. Jake, after crashing out in qualifying, starts on the softs in 19th. And Angel, with that bug that you just mentioned there, Chef, starting on the medium compound tires. The softs, very, very dominant here. We've got 6 drivers on the mediums, everyone else on softs. No visible hard choices. I think that's probably because we don't have any rain forecast. For laters, Henners, well, he's just taking a little trip into the grass there. He won't be too thrilled about that one. Knocking his confidence. But again, not a brilliant, qualifying from Azir. 15th place for him. He's leading this championship. You've got Crampy in P2 in the standings. He's in 4th. Jake crashed out of qualifying. Scars is P1. This is shaping up for a very, very good race for Alfa Romeo. Even after qualifying, when we had the prediction from a lot of people that they were going to do well, and now that it's all shaping up for them.
Scars, Henners, Sam, your top 3 in this grid. Oh, it is competitive. This was a tight qualifying. We saw some issues. Someone that we're missing from this front end equation is the Red Bull of Jake. The Swedish driver, not going to be thrilled about it, but I'll tell you something, he will be back with an axe to grind, and I have a feeling we're going to see some fireworks coming out of the Red Bull camp from the rear of this grid. But Unicorn, it's time. Take us away.
Yeah, we've got 5 red lights here on in Spa. There's that little bit of desync that we always get, but it is lights out, and away we go. Hennes, what a start he's got compared to Scars. He's already ahead of the Alfa Romeo. Down towards turn 1 they go. Hughes's going to have a look. Scars very deep, very late on the brakes. Manages to avoid all problems. Pavel, he's already up into P3. Crampy defending 4th because Husam has dropped quite substantially here at the start of this one. So right now, Hennes leads Scars as they come out of Eau Rouge. Pavel, he's got a lot of pressure from Crampy behind the Alfa Romeo driver. Both of them looking for moves as they come down towards Lake Comes. Scars retakes the lead into P1. He goes. Crampy's looking around the outside of the Ferrari. He doesn't find it, and that left him vulnerable to Husam behind the Haas driver. A little bit of a tap between the two, but no major problems for either. The other Haas of Jean very, very wide as they come out of Lake Comes, and there's 3 wide. Swifty J on the inside as they come through turn 10. Swifty now on the outside. He's got an end plate missing, though. That might cost him as they come through turn 11. It doesn't. He takes the Haas. Mark comes up the outside as well into P10. Goes the AlphaTauri, and his teammate follows him through as well. Jean is really struggling in that Haas, but my oh my, what a start. And Crampy, well, he's still tied to the rear of Husam here for P5 after losing it through Lake Combs earlier in the lap.
What a opening lap of racing we have seen here. There's been a little bit of upset for some of these drivers with, of course, damage, but we have gotten an opportunity to see a very action-packed lap here from a variety of different angles. Jean, as you said, struggling massively with that damage. Jake now has made up a variety of positions in that Red Bull. He'll look to hunt down Rackety now. They're quite tight. We're going to look at this into the chicane. Does he look for that inside? Well, things are tight, but too tight for him to make a move there this early in the race, potentially. He's just going to hold it well for a second. Scars, well, he is leading this race ahead of Henners. Pavel in 3rd. And we are having a solid run here now out of the first turn. We have Max O'Connor wheel-to-wheel with Mark. These two drivers, excuse me, it's not Mark, it's Santiago. Santiago dropping back a position. Mark was well ahead of the Mercedes. There's been an issue for Max. He's had a slide. He caught that, and he got it out in time. That front left is intact. Wow.
Yeah, huge save for the Mercedes driver. He will not be disappointed with that one. And we just saw Jean, interesting enough, he only had an end plate missing. When I looked at that car, I was expecting a huge portion of the front wing to be missing, but he dropped so far with just an end plate for damage. Meanwhile, Azier, P14, he's looking at the Renault of Angel. What a start it's been for the reserve driver. He's up 7 places so far since the start of this race. Lil Shen as well, he's up 6 places in that Racing Point. So far, not a bad race for Racing Point at all. There's a little bit of a split behind Tuptus and Swifty. There you can see about 1.3 seconds the gap right now. So I think Swifty, he's nursing a bit of an injured car right now in that Red Bull, but he's going to soldier on. He hasn't come into the pit lap 1, and I think that's the intention, to just keep going. Maybe slow down the field a little bit to try and aid his teammate, maybe a little bit further down. Jake, he's up 3 places where he started. Not the best qualifying, but the race going a little bit better than it was a few moments ago.
There goes Mark looking for an opportunity. Here he goes to the outside. Mark on the outside into the chicane. Is this move going to be done for the AlphaTauri? Of course, Swifty nursing that damage. Sorry to interrupt you there, Unicorn.
Yeah, no worries. We had that. I think we saw it yesterday in Tier 3 as well. I think Jean might have watched that. He reset the track to avoid himself getting DSQ'd for being parked in a dangerous location. But we saw it yesterday. There's a little bit there in F1 where you can't get Pavel. Meanwhile, he's going for P2, and he's found it.
What's happened?
What a time! What a time!
Oh
as
no!
Through a Rouge.
It's a safety
car. That's not good for championship leader. The timing for Pavel on that overtake. He literally went past, got the P2 on the timing tower, and then the safety car came out moments before, and that could have been a bit problematic going into Les Combs for Hennes and Pavel there.
This is absolutely huge when you're thinking about the standings as well here at Unicorn, because now we have a safety car. We have a second to talk about it while everybody gets an idea of what's going to happen. That is the championship leader out of this race on lap 3.
Well, I said at the end of qualifying on that formation lap that it was looking like a good race for Alfa Romeo in terms of both drivers. it's now looking even better. You had Jake out in qualifying, which meant that these guys could qualify without him. Azir did not have a good qualifying. Now that he's out of this race, you've got Crampy and Scars here, uncontested for points right now at the top of this in terms of championship rivals. Jake, he's made a lot of positions right now. He's in 14th place, but that's still not point scoring. And even if he does climb into the point scoring positions right now, as it stands, he will not score substantial points in comparison to his championship rivals here. Henners, he's in 8th place in the standings right now, not really in a championship run. And then Husam as well, obviously, he's in 10th place in the standings. So neither of these guys that are up here right now are on for a charge. Pavel as well, he's 11th. So Crampy and Scars right now, they need to keep their heads screwed on straight and keep calm under pressure. Although, big problem for Crampy right now, he's going to get double stacked.
Wow, that's right. Scars, Crampy, they have to double stack. Henners, Larsen, they have to double stack. Any of these teams that are tight in this top 10 especially are going to have to double stack. And it might cost you a bit, but I think it's the better option. Then, of course, you would not be able to go around in any capacity, you know, find a way to avoid a double stack here in Spa. It just wouldn't work. It's Spa. It's too long of a lap. You'd catch the car. It wouldn't work. Yari Santiago now is leading this race with Angel, Rackety, the two Renault drivers, 2 and 3, and well, they started this race on the mediums. I have to say it's a good call to be on the mediums at the start of this race because they've now net themselves some solid positions. If you're me, you're happy right now because, well, I have a saying, Unicorn, when the safety car comes out, and that's that, well, safety cars create more safety cars. And here around Spa, when you have, you know, intricate sections of circuit like that Eau Rouge Radeon complex, you're gonna have potential issues, and this is where we saw, of course, Azir unfortunately crash out of this race.
Yeah, I'm looking now. There's been a bit of a variety in terms of the tyre choices. Most people going for the mediums. If you're going for the hards, Tuptus there in 10th place. He's gone for the softs. Crampy didn't lose out too much. He's in 9th place, which looks worse than it is because there's still 4 medium starters on their starting tyres. You've got the top 3 there, and Darian Alfie in 5th as well. So it's interesting, you know, that the variety we've got here. Henners, Pavel, Eruption, and Scars. They've all gone for the hard. So Alfa Romeo, they're covering both strategies here. They've got Scars, their race leader or net race leader, on that fresh set of hards, planning presumably to go to the end, I imagine. Crampy on those mediums, it'll be a little bit faster. And with the fact that he got double stacked, the double stack wasn't terrible. You know, by the time he reached the pit box, Scars had already left. But he'll be able to he'll be hoping to carve through Eruption, Henners, and Pavel on these fresher mediums. By the time he's done that, Darian Alfie's tyres will be a lot older, and he should have the advantage there. And then Scars should be well and truly off in the lead. And they'll be hoping for an Alfa Romeo 1-2 in the mid portion of this race. And I think this safety car is going to go around once more because Jean's not quite caught there, and it could be a very short safety car. Yeah, interesting. They got both strategies covered there. Not a bad shout from that Alfa Romeo squad. Future safety cars, though, in this race, they are really make or break for either strategy. Husam as well in 12th. We'll see how he goes on those fresh hards. He's sort of in the middle of everything.
Well, lap 5 now, safety car conditions, and we'll just have to see. As you said earlier in this campaign, when the safety car comes out, it does extend these races because it is a long lap around Spa, one of the longest laps on the calendar. Take a look at the position changes right now overall after the pit stops have come through. Santiago, Angel, Rackety, they are big winners here, being on those medium compound tires. Darian as well in the top 10. Big winners. 10, 18, and 15 positions gained, respectively, for the top 3. Scars, the pole sitter here, he's dropped back 3 positions, but he is in good form. We have Darian up 7 positions. Pavel down 1. Again, a lot of these drivers getting in on some pit stops here. Eruption, no position changes for him. Crampy down 5, Tuptus down 3. We have Mark moving up a couple slots here. Lil Shen in 15th position. He's moved up a couple slots here. Jake, well, he's dancing in and around the rear of this grid, but he showed us in these opening few laps that we had that he has the pace to cut through this field. We'll see what he's able to do now that the tire differential has come through.
Yeah, absolutely. And on to the safety car. Big shout out Airborne Multi-Gaming for the raid of 15. Thank you for that, and welcome to everyone joining. You're here for MRL Tier 2 here at Spa. We're on the safety car right now on lap 5. Racing should resume on lap 6 as everyone's caught that safety car. And welcome to all the raiders as well. Big shout out to our partners Next Level Racing. If you're looking for a sim racing rig, something like that, motion platform, all of that good stuff, check them out in the link in the chat or the panels down below. But Yar Santiago on these starting mediums, getting ready to restart this race from the front. Safety car in this lap, race control confirming it. The top three.
What has happened here? What has happened here, ladies and gentlemen? That's a McLaren round. There's been a penalty served to Henners. And I'm not entirely sure what has caused this, but I will confirm to you now, Henners is in 19th position on this grid.
He's got damage too, Striff. Not good news for him. There's still collisions going on. I don't quite know what's happened there, but very, very worrying stuff for this driver. A lot of uncertainty in this grid as we wait for Yar Santiago to pull the trigger and restart this one in that AlphaTauri. The two Renaults behind him.
Oof, this is starting to get hairy here on this this restart with some of these collisions. Of course, if you make any contact under safety car conditions with any driver, you are going to get a 5-second to go with it. Here goes Santiago now. We are back to green flag running here. Lap 6 in Spa, Tier 2 racing for round 14 MRL. And Angel, Rackety, the two Renaults, they're wanting to make sure they get themselves into a good position here.
Yeah, what a run from Angel through a Rouge right now on the leader. Yar Santiago, ERS in full deployment for both cars. No DRS, of course, coming out of that safety car, but the lead of this race might just exchange hands. The lack of DRS, though, really costing the Renault as they come down towards Lake Cobbs, but what a lunge from him. Side by side they go, and Angel with a little bit of contact takes P1. Behind them, Crampy gets past Eruption. He's taking advantage of those medium tires. Eruption, you might have had a problem. He gets overtaken by Tuptus as well. But he's still on the straight, no damage from it. Crampy already up into P7. He'll be happy with that one.
Santiago has Rackety all over him. Rackety tried to seize an opportunity through Lacombe, but nothing doing just yet. We come down Pouon here, and Santiago holding on to second. Angel with a major act of fireworks coming through into the chicane there to get that move done.
Yeah, everything's been pretty peaceful on this restart across the board, which is, you know, thankful. I think a lot of those drivers will be happy about that, given, you know, that sort of chaos that goes into that bus stop chicane, it being such a tight couple of corners at the end of the lap. You get the few at the front who get to run away. You get a couple of cars in the chicane, and then everyone else is just bundling in to just try and get ahead. But patience really works out for those drivers who exercise it, and that's, you know, rewarded with a lack of front wing damage.
I do believe Jake just made a move on Max O'Connor for 15th position. The Red Bull setting the fastest lap of the race on the medium compound tires. It's a 45.359 here on lap 7 as we begin lap 7. That was, of course, the first lap after the safety car. So we'll see what these drivers are able to do now once again for a full, you know, an absolute full lap of green flag running. Jake really wanting to make up some position, and considering this grid now in close proximity. Tuptus looking for the inside on Crampy into Lacombe. Does he get the move done? Yes. What a move from the Racing Point. Of course, he has these softs right now. He needs to do everything he can with them. Pavel should be next up on his radar.
You know, I was on board with him, and he made a lot of time down that Camel straight. You know, a lot of ERS burnt off, but Crampy hasn't got too much in that tank either. I think he needs to be careful and mindful of that as we go through. We're still in the fairly early stages of this race as Yar Santiago's off. The AlphaTauri is in the wall coming through Vuon. That is not a place you want to be off the track, because he's got to wait for absolutely everyone here to pass him with the exception of Henners.
Uh-oh.
So, big problem for him.
There is that curb again. There is the curb. This curb. This is the curb, ladies. Somebody name the curb. Okay? There it goes. Boom.
Well, there goes Scars.
He's just joined the list.
P2 goes to Scars. Yar Santiago gets disqualified, but I think It's not going to affect anything. Tuptus around the outside of Pavel. This is a bold move going down into the bus stop chicane. Can he find it though? The soft tires, they should afford him extra traction on exit. And so far they are. And what a move by Tuptus, the Racing Point. Well, he's really pushing. He's got a penalty to his name right now. It's a 5 seconds. So if he will have to pit again. So he won't be able to get it removed, whether it was his fault or not, because he will have to pit again as Swifty loses out to Hugh Sam down in turn 1. Hugh Sam, that's his first position gain since that safety car restart, and he's on those hards. And if he's making places now, it could be very dangerous at the end of this race. Swifty, he's been struggling all race long. He's got a fresh front wing.
Crampy looking for Pavel. Pavel looking for a bit of a squeeze here. He wants to hold it tight on the center line here. Crampy says hello and says, I don't care. Moves through, keeps it so tight onto the curbing. No warning for sure there. Clean as you like for Crampy, and that is just some nice driving from the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, Crampy, he knows he's got to use those tires to his advantage right now. He had to take them to get, after getting double stacked in the pits. He needs to make moves like that, and he's executing them well right now. His teammate Scars, in a world of his own in P2, Angel, is flying out in front of this. And given that glitch, Darian Alfie, Rackety, they're side by side.
Ooh. Oh!
There is a big glide. The Red Bull, the Ferrari, completely different car. Off into the wall. We saw it in qualifying. We've seen it in a different section of the track now.
Well, I'm afraid to say that has cost Tuptus here. I'm afraid that has cost Tuptus here, because here's how that went down. Of course, Rackety had to take evasive action. He had to get on his brakes a little bit, and that caused the course of Concertina. Tuptus going into the rear here. Crampy now on the inside of Rackety, through into the chicane. What a move here around the outside. Crampy says hello. Does he get this move done on the inside? Rackety, a little bit later, they're pretty even here on the braking. Rackety wants to go around the outside and hold this. Rackety says not yet, Crampy, but I think Crampy's fine with this.
Well, he's going to get DRS down like Kemmel straight, and as soon as he's got that, look at the pace through a Rouge. The fresher tires just really affording him now ERS in full utilization. Both drivers using an ERS. And Crampy, when he's nearly out of battery, and on the inside there, you've got Tuptus as well. He's coming to say hello, not only on one, but both of them. Those fresh, really helping him down into Laycom, and he picks off both drivers. What a move from the Racing Point, who puts himself into the podium positions. He's on those softs, so they won't be able to go until the end of this race, but he is really putting in a shift right now, and he might just work out, especially if there's another safety car. And right now, this grid, it's barely spaced itself out. Jake's got past Mark. Mark's had some sort of issue, I think, as he's got passed by Max O'Connor as well. He's not missing any end plates, but something has gone wrong in that AlphaTauri. Crampy now, well, he's got another run on Tuptus. What a drive from Crampy. What a move up the inside, down into turn 13 from Crampy. He retakes P3, and Neon predicted a top 5 finish for both Alfa Romeos. It might just be a top 3 finish for both of them right now, because they're provisional first and second, with Anel still yet to pit. This is an impressive drive from the pair of them.
This has been a fantastic race, and all I got to say about what we saw coming through Sector 1 out of Kemmel Straight was Tuptus. Is that the flying fin? Like, that that was an iconic move, reimagined, I have to say. Now we've had an issue. What's going on here? Well, there's a yellow flag. There's a McLaren. Hanners is out here in Sector 2. He's in the gravel. Any damage as a result of this?
Tuptus has come into the pit lane for a fresh front wing, and he's serving that 5-second penalty. I wonder whether he came in now in hopes that Hanners, caused a VSC there.
Big
I imagine
gamble.
he's got... Hasn't worked out for him, though.
Lars and his teammate right now for the day, filling in for Alp. Hunting down Eruption. There's a solid train right now for this third position.
And Crampy's sort of running away a little bit. He's broken that DRS to Rackety behind, and that's very, very powerful at this stage of the race. And this is what Crampy needs. He needs to just get a little bit of breathing room behind him. Meanwhile, the front two, they have just been absolutely powering on up at the front of things. Neither of them really been contested since the a couple of laps after the safety car restart.
Sam right now struggling a little bit as we come through sector 2. Jake, well, he is looking to inherit. He is all over the rear of this Haas right now. Of course, Swifty, you were talking about how it's good for him being in this grid to potentially push cars into his teammate.
Yeah, this train, very, very long right now. DRS for everyone involved. It's only broken by Darian Alfie down in 15th. And those drivers who have had, you know, extra pit stops and whatnot. Sam having a big look up the inside into Swifty, who was way too far back for a move. He's just sort of threatening. Swifty hasn't crumbled under the pressure. We'll see how long he can hold on. Pavel as well. He's got a very good run on Rackety, and with Rackety being out of Crampy's DRS, this could be bad news for the Renault driver. Look at the speed from the Ferrari up the outside of Rackety. Eruption, is he going to have another look around the outside of the Renault as well? We'll see. Is the Renault, there's a little bit of contact. Rackety a little bit too much of the curb, just came out a bit wider off of it and nearly caused a big problem. Lars is on the rear of this as well. He's going to have a look at Eruption. Eruption comes out to the inside to take Rackety up the inside. What a move from the Mercedes. Larson gets denied the move, and Rackety back up the inside now for turn 11. And they're still side by side. Eruption, what an exit on the outside line. Takes P5 away from the Renault. What a bit of driving, and that has just allowed Pavel to run away strip. He's got 1.4 seconds to the car behind already, and now Lars is going to do what we saw Crampy do not too long ago, up the inside. This time it's Rackety losing the position, and it's for P6. But that move down into turn 13, what a delight it is to watch. And now Rackety's got the two Red Bulls behind him, those medium tires, 10 laps old now, dying out a little bit. Swifty, he has a problem, he has a big problem. And it compounds onto a little bit of a loss of traction on the curb. He drops the position to his teammate and to Sam, and now to Lil Shen as well, who might be going for a run up the inside of the Haas.
Oh, there's been a big collision here. There's been a big collision. Aliens has been caught up in something massive. Darian Alfie's out of this race, and the safety car has been deployed here on lap 12. Holy smokes.
Well, that's very dramatic. A lot of people weren't quite sure whether they wanted to pit or not there. Lil Shen was about to cut the pit lane and then realized that he was so far away from him. Hennes picks up a drive for speeding on the safety car, but Lil Shen didn't go into the pit, so we're all good on that front. And the leaders, they've beaten the safety car out, so this is good news for them. For all these medium runners, 10 laps to go. We'll see what sort of tires everyone opts for. It looks like fresh softs for the majority of them. So I imagine that is what we're going to see a lot of these guys jump to. For Angel, this is brilliant news. We'll see what happens. We'll see whether Scars, with where it is in the session, can he afford to stay out for track position? Or does he have to come into the pits again? And that's going to cost Crampy another double stack, which might not be too bad considering the gap between him and between him and Eruption. He'd probably lose the position to Pavel if he did, but we'll have to see what happens in terms of the softs and the Alfa Romeo squad. I imagine we'll see everyone else pretty much go for the softs. Red Bull have a similar problem, the difference being that neither of them can really stay out right now. So they both have to come in. And Swifty doesn't have a 5 second, it's a 3 second time penalty, so he won't get caught for that. But at the moment, under safety car conditions, this is a good opportunity for Hennes as well, Striff, to get back into this race. For McLaren, he's been sort of running around at the bottom for quite some time now. Now an opportunity to get back in. Angel in. Scars stays out. Crampy stays out as well.
That's huge. It's a very interesting call here from the Alfa Romeo squad. I'll tell you something, Henners, this is his 4th season of Misfits racing, and he's driven Spa plenty. He knows it's a long race, and he quite enjoys it here. I mean, he had a fantastic opening to this race, and things just unfortunately started to unravel for him, but this could be what he needed, as you said, to get that rhythm back in tune.
Well, I'm just very curious as to what Crampy's doing with, staying out on those mediums. If he could take them to the end of this race, which I find hard to believe, by the time we get there, those tires will be 17 laps old, I think. But I wonder why you don't take advantage of this safety car, especially when Scars doesn't pit off of the hards. So he wouldn't get double stacked. We'll have to see what happens. But there's now a lot of fast runners, fresh softs to the end. Lap 13 of 22. Just the top 5 out on 8-lap old tires. And Tuptus, he went for fresh mediums, but he had to after pitting for softs on the last one.
The position change dynamic in this race is wild. We've had multiple stops from a good majority of this grid now. Very unfortunate incidents that we've seen in this race. 4 drivers retired now. Both Williams are out of this race, which is not the form we're accustomed to seeing from them. We've had Darian now, most recently as well, retire. Santiago with that unfortunate disqualification due to the beaching of the car on the curb and coming down the hill. That's the second time in as many days we've seen that. Linus yesterday in Tier 3 doing the same.
Yeah, I think Jean must have watched that because he got caught on that curve as well, but he obviously realized and reset to track before it became a problem for him. And, now, again, we saw him far down the grid as a result of that incident, but up into P13 now. Safety car here. He's got a moment to redeem himself.
The lovely,
and going to chat. A little bit of rain.
Yeah, well, if that comes through if that rain comes down with the 2 safety cars, I've spoken, people think I'm mad when I've said this, but the safety car prolonging races, it increases dynamics for the weather. When it's dynamic weather, it's dynamic weather, and the safety cars can present different weather scenarios. It can alter things. And I think you and I have seen those races before, but Jeff's calling for rain out of nowhere. We'll see it darken up. Maybe we'll see some raindrops. Do we see any tire changes? That's a big question.
Sometimes you don't even need the tire change for it to take a hold on the race. Sometimes just when it's at the end of a race, the tires are already so worn that the lack of grip can be a problem in the dry. You add a little bit of rain to the surface, get a little bit slippery out there on slippery tires. It does not bode well, especially when you're running a dry setup. You've got dry setup on worn dry tires. It doesn't end well. And if you're not expecting it, you're not prepared for it, it can catch you off guard. And like you said, 2 safety cars here at Spa. It's a long lap. These laps get longer under the safety car, of course. And just because the dynamic weather in qualifying didn't forecast rain for the 45 minutes that the race typically takes place over, doesn't mean we don't see it. Like you said, we've seen it multiple times here in the commentary booth where a race that no one expected rain to be at starts raining. And in the case, my mind wanders back to a few weeks ago at Austria. You see how quickly the rain there took hold of a race. No one expected it, but it can take hold. And then yesterday in just Tier 3, you have, the inters come out, and then how long until the wets became dominant and caused a new race winner? So, and last week as well, we saw Hungary, Volksman's charge. It's wet weather conditions changed races, and at the end, they could cause real confusion. France, we saw people go for the wrong tire. There's a lot that becomes with late rain dynamic as we get ready to restart the race here. Everyone needs to stay on their toes and make the right decisions, and that's where an engineer comes in very handy.
Definitely, the engineer can be crucial. Absolutely crucial. Well, of course, Scars, Crampy, hard, mediums, eruption on the hards. We have, of course, the yellow tires, the mediums, and then everyone, good majority on these softs, and we'll see how it plays out now. Scars pacing this grid nice and consistently for our restart here on lap 14. We're about to go green flag for lap 15. Here we go, coming out of the chicane. And it is throttled down now for Scars in the Alfa Romeo. We'll see how everyone's been able to get away here, but we're back, green flag running. Scars, Crampy, Eruption, your top three. The Red Bulls, Jake, Swifty, 4 and 5, and this has been very good for Jake, I think, overall of a race, considering where he began after that crash in qualifying. Things quite tight through this grid now that we're back into a serious train formation.
Yeah, we were talking about the driver's standings with Azir being out of this one. Jake now in the qualifying, he's really worked hard to get himself back up into a race position, and now on the river option, we'll see what sort of place he could come. He's not got bad tires as well. 10 lap old mediums compared to Eruption and Scars on those hards. We'll see sort of how that plays out. He's got even tires with Crampy. He's got a lot of opportunity in this race. No overtakes so far on the restart. A very calm safety car restart, especially considering what we saw earlier in this race. I think a lot of people here just biding their time, being cautious. They know they've got to take these softs to the end, which is going to be a little bit
on
of work.
He's looking for a move on Swifty here. Does he get it? Oh, what an opportunity seized for the Spaniard.
I didn't have turn 13 downshift as one of these corners to be,
really
noted, but we've seen it 3 times now. What a move. What a move. We've seen that 3 times now in different circumstances, and it's worked beautifully every time for everyone who's tried it. Larson now, he's going to go for Pavel. It's side by side this time. There's no tire advantage for either driver, but Pavel is going to take it down around into the bus stop chicane. Jake's found Eruption as well on exit. Larson takes P7. And Swifty just ahead of this. Angel, he's going for another move. Eruption's dropped 2 places in quick succession. On Angel, he had a brilliant qualifying. He got thrown to the rear of this grid with that glitch, and now he's in a very, very dangerous striking position for those guys ahead of him. These guys who are looking for championship points better watch out for someone who wasn't even supposed to be in this race, but a last-minute dropout meant that he got in here as a reserve, and all the excitement he's brought, I think we're all thankful for it. The Spaniard now hunting down Jake for P3.
This has been quite a race. We've had a little bit of drama, of course. This has been just a solid bit of action that we've seen tonight for this Tier 2 race. I mean, I'll say something, it's a heck of a lot cleaner so far than what we had the unfortunate time to witness in the Americas division. That was definitely a lower end. Of course, next week we'll bounce back in Italy, but Tier 2 putting on a fantastic display of racing here now on this restart. Angel looking for Jake. Jake defending now to the inside with a bit of a squeeze coming onto the Renault. Does he have the opportunity to get the traction for this move? Not just yet, but we're going to stick with this as Angel. He's been charging the tire differential massive here. We're on lap 16 out of 22. The Spaniard now, he came into this lobby in the middle of qualifying. He started this race at the back of the grid due to some issues with the bugs in quali, and now we're seeing him hunt down a podium position in this Red Bull. Jake is not going to be thrilled about this right now. He knows that these tires aren't going to be the best, but we'll see. Oh, just look at the exit.
Yeah, absolutely. Jake used so much ERS last lap that it actually stopped him from using any more. And that's really hurting him. And I don't know why he's fighting this quite so hard. I think he needs to let Arnell go here. Give him DRS down the Camel straight and hope that he can tag on to the back of this fast-moving Renault to try and, fight Crampy and Scars into the late stages of this race. Meanwhile, Swifty, he exchanged places with Larson. I believe he took P6 away from the McLaren. And Hussam and Larson, they're side by side now as they come down the Camel straight. Down towards Lecom, who's going to take it late on the brakes. Hussam around the outside. He's going to give him the inside into turn 8. But he's not going to find the move on Larson. Excellent bit of defending for the McLaren driver. Can he hold it as they come down towards turn 10? He can. Both very late on the brakes. Very deep for Larson, and that might open the door, but I think he's just about got it because Hussam just braked early to try and avoid contact. But nice move from Larson to defend there.
You can't take your eyes off this grid. We are at that point in time, Unicorn, where this grid is into that formation where if you make any kind of mistake, there's just been a huge snap. Max O'Connor coming down the hill. He's gone around and he has gone into a wall here. That Mercedes, I caught it just on the rear camera, and now we are on board with him, and he is just not going to be happy with that. No safety car, no VSC. Fortunate for him. No damage visible on the front end of that car. How on earth has he pulled that off?
Well, there's an element of skill involved in crashing. You gotta, once you spin, you need to correct it in such a way that not necessarily gets you back pointing around a perfect 360, but just to mitigate damage. Those Shen's had a problem coming into bus stop.
Right on. Looks like he just wanted to do a little bit of a quick donut, and yeah, alrighty.
Well, I love the structure for him. We'll see. Meanwhile, Crampy, well, he's under pressure from someone we've seen make a lot of moves. Both of them nearly out of ERS completely in this one. They're both fighting tooth and nail. P2's on the line. Can Angel go for a lunge up the inside? He can. But can he hold it? The softs should provide him a little bit of extra traction, and they do. And Crampy loses out for P3. The Alfa Romeo relegated into third place by these soft tires on that Renault. He is moving so fast through this grid. Jake, he's done exactly what I thought he would. He's tailed through, and now he's on the rear of Crampy. And he needs to stay here, fight with Crampy to the end. They're both on the same tires, same age, same compound. And that's very, very important for not only this race, but the championship as well. Crampy 125 points, Jake 102. Larson, can he find a move into turn 13? We've seen this before. He's not going to get it on Swifty, who lost the position there earlier on to Angel, who's now in P2. He is absolutely flying right now, but a lot of action still after that second safety car restart.
What a battle we are witnessing right now. Lars and Swifty. There he goes. Exit out of the chicane. Through into turn one on the outside. Little deep here. Swifty might take advantage. Traction on these softs right now is king.
Absolutely. I think Swifty did everything right there. He held it down that inside line, went for the late brakes, which forced Larson to brake later. I think if Swifty had been on equal tyre compounds, P6 would be his, but the difference here is that Swifty's on 14 lap-old mediums, Larson's on 5 lap-old softs. Swifty's got nothing in this Red Bull in comparison to the traction levels of that McLaren ahead of him, so unfortunate for him. But that Red Bull driver right now, he's just got to try and keep as many of these fresh soft runners behind him as he can until he's got 3 seconds of time penalties as well. And with the grid as compact as it is right now, that could be a huge problem for him and even drop him out of the points. So he needs to be very, very careful.
This has been an absolutely thrilling race, and of course we aren't done with Spa yet. This week we have 2 more fantastic races around here for the MRL divisions. We have Tier 1 tomorrow, same time, same place, and of course the APAC division coming through on Sunday.
Yeah, Aaron, well, the racing we've seen so far around here, it's such an iconic circuit, Spa, and now has provided some thrilling action so far this week, both good and bad, but this race has been much more good than it has been bad in terms of the overtakes we've seen from some of these drivers. Angel as well. What a unique element he's provided into this one. P2 right now, he's just broken the 1 second gap to Scars ahead. He's not got a lot of battery left in the tank. There's 3 laps to go, including this one. The softs will be losing their edge a little bit, but Scars on those 15-lap-old hards. We'll see who can come out on top. Angel should have the DRS down the Camel straight. He's using ERS. He does have it. He does have DRS, and this is going to help him reel Scars in. He just needs to be careful. He just needs to execute the move if he gets the opportunity.
DRS. Well, hold on a second here. Lars interruption. Pavel Husam, 2 exchanges coming down through into the chicane. John Tuptus, 3 exchanges now on this lap. Pavel Husam, well, Pavel doesn't want to say yes to this Haas right now.
We've seen some excellent overtaking stuff today, but we've also seen some brilliant defending coming out of that Lacombe section of track. So
we really have.
I think there's a lot of drivers that can be proud of how wide they've made these cars tonight.
This has been an absolutely thrilling race. I have enjoyed every moment of it. We've had some drama, of course, but I think that's what everyone wants to see in some of these races, especially around iconic circuits. like Spa-Francorchamps here. We're in the Ardennes Forest. Of course, it's the Belgian Grand Prix Tier 2, ladies and gentlemen. If you're enjoying this race, let us know in the chat. Of course, we are just about to enter into the penultimate lap of running here. Scars, Angel, Crampy, your top three. Jake in fourth, Larsen in fifth, and of course Angel from the rear of this grid. He started this race in 20th. He has played the strategy perfect. He's been in good form, even though he has come to take that gauntlet over at Renault late. There's a last call reserve, but he is within close proximity of this race leader.
I don't think he's got him. I don't think Angel is too far back with how he did last lap, and given the ERS disparity between the two, I think that Scars should have this, provided he's got everything he needs right now, unless he bins it into or out of a corner. Pavel on the inside of Swifty.
Not a lot Swifty has to answer to this. I mean, he's got 16 lap old mediums right now versus those 7 lap old softs, and as soon as you get those DRS, well, you get into that DRS range, it's like putting your hooks in and you just can't shake it. Angel right now, he hasn't quite been able to catch up to that DRS range of Scars. Of course, we've lost our timing presently, if you're wondering why.
3-second time penalty.
Oh, that's not any good for his opportunity at a back-to-front race win here, I'll tell you that right now. We've lost our timing due to the desync of Jean rejoining session. It will update once this lap goes through to the line. But we are blind on timing for a moment. Fortunately, we only have one more sector to go here until the final lap.
Looking visibly at it, Crampy is well within 3 seconds of Angel right now. And with a lap to go, old softs now for Angel. This could be an Alfa Romeo 1-2 strip. And this has been a very, very good race for that squad. It was touted to be such before with the predictions as Tuptus and Rackety, they're side by side through the bus stop chicane. The Racing Point, he's come out just on top. I think now there's a little bit of crossover between those fresh mediums that he started this safety car restart on. It's worked out quite nicely for him. But yeah, Crampy is well within that range, and he's even got DRS to boot to just cling him to the Renault ahead of him. He just doesn't need to go for the move. He doesn't need to, you know, threaten as Larsen takes Jake for P4. And he doesn't have a penalty, so Larsen could find himself on the podium after an excellent race for McLaren yesterday. You know, Henna's out of the points. He's had a pretty poor race. Swifty, Hugh Sam, they're side by side. Hugh Sam's into the wall. He's spinning around. He's facing the wrong way. And he gets himself rejoined very dangerously.
Oof.
He completely just his rejoins in front of Mark.
Why?
Not good.
What's he done this for now? You know, I know it's the last lap, but that's okay. We move ahead to the front.
Crampy on the other hand, he's still within it.
Yeah, he is. He is within range right now. Scars, what a drive from him today.
Yeah, he has been firing on all cylinders. He finished P4 last week at Tier 1. And I think everyone, as a result of that one, with Neon back in or up into that division, I think everyone expected Scars to take the mantle of P1 here at Spa. And as he comes down into the bus stop chicane for the final time this evening, he is going to do just that, provided he gets the exit he needs. He's already weaving in celebration. He takes P1 here in Spa. Angel crosses the line in second, but that penalty demotes him all the way down the grid. Crampy makes it an Alfa Romeo 1-2. What a race it's been for him. And Larsen finishes P3 for McLaren, who had a great race yesterday in Tier 3. Jake finishes fourth ahead of Angel, the penalty demoting him to fifth. Eruption finishes sixth in the Mercedes with 18 lap old hards. Pavel finishes seventh in the end on Sots. Tuptus in eighth for the Racing Point squad. Swifty in ninth, you know, holding off a fair few of these soft runners. Lil Shen makes it a double points finish for Racing Point. Rackety finishes 11th, Jean 12th, Hennis 13th. Both of those drivers, they were at the right back of things earlier in this race. They came back, no points for him, but a good race nonetheless. Mark in 14th, Hugh Sam 15th, and Max O'Connor limps across the line in an injured Mercedes in 16th place, the loss of the finishers. But well, my, what a race, Jeff.
It was a fantastic race overall, and you know what? It was an amazing race for some, a great race for others and a poor race for a few, and that is what you get when you come through here into the Ardennes Forest. Of course, this was the Belgian Grand Prix. It was Spa-Francorchamps, and it was just a thrilling race, a solid performance from a great chunk of this grid, especially on the heels of America's last night. I have to be happy with this race, of course, and tomorrow I'm very much looking forward to a solid Tier 1 race. But Scars, he told me today, I mean, you and me right now, he's going to come into these interviews in just a second. Of course, we're going to have interviews, everyone. We're going to speak to both Alfa Romeos and, of course, Lars in here. What a race for quite a few of these guys, and just a solid performance. Of course, we're going to speak to them for interviews, and just after that, I'm really excited to tell you that our good friend and Tier 3 driver, Mr. Alex Budd, is going to be unboxing a new wheel to go on his Fanatec DD1 rim. So we're going to go over there and raid that in just a few minutes. So we hope you'll join us. It is a very high-end wheel. I don't know if he's in the chat to tell us what it's called, but it's quite fancy, isn't it, Unicorn? But
yeah, it's quite a piece of equipment.
It's not an SF1000. But no, we always like to help out our friends, of course, and thank you to everyone who's been tuning into all of the Misfits races. We so appreciate all of the support in the community. And you know, we move ahead race by race. Next week, we have the Temple of Speed for this grid. Of course, tomorrow we're back here at Spa with Tier 1. We have so much more racing this weekend. We have an endurance race on Saturday, but we're going to jump now to get some interviews done. And, well, I'm very much looking forward to the interviews with these three drivers after just a very, very solid campaign.
Yeah, really, really good race. You know, not any of these guys on the podiums. You know, I think Angel there, he still picked up the in-game Driver of the Day award. Not surprising, you know, from last place he crossed the line second. Obviously demoted to fifth after that penalty, but still, what a drive from him. The strategy really worked out in his favor, despite the fact that he didn't start where he was told to do. But I do believe we got the interviews read up and ready to go, Striff.
That's right. We have Larsen joining us. A late call to race, I suppose, as a reserve today, filling in over at McLaren, but a great drive. How are you feeling after this one?
Yeah, I'm speechless. My race was so good. I enjoyed it so much, and I had a good battle with I think it was Swifty, like the whole race after the safety car. I enjoyed that, and I kind of lucky with the who was it? P2 got a penalty. Can't remember.
Angel.
Yeah, kind of lucky with him getting a penalty.
Yeah, it was a very dynamic race. How did you feel about the multiple safety cars in this one?
It helped me quite a lot. Like I could pit for soft and be quite faster than anyone on medium and hard.
Well, congratulations, filling in for Alp, who's coincidentally today supposed to take over for Neon. I mean, it's big shoes to fill regardless, Neon being such a fast driver, but coming in today for McLaren, but technically the Pirates as a reserve, of course. A solid race to see that car on the podium. Congratulations, Lars, and it was just a solid performance today.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking time to interview.
Problems.
Next up, okay, is of course Crampy, and welcome Crampy. Congratulations on a fantastic race. It was a very dynamic race, all things said and considered. Scars gave us a bit of an indication of where Alpha may have landed themselves. He'd predicted top 5 for both of you. He didn't predict top, 2. How you feeling?
Very happy for the team and for Scars finally winning a race and just getting a good result and not bad luck that he's been getting so much. And obviously a P2's nice and just helps us with the constructors and closing up on Azir and the drivers.
It was just an amazing race. I mean, was there any ever... How much does it win for you guys coming into Spa? I mean, you were pegged as potential favorites. We heard you were doing a lot of prep for this race. I mean, how does it feel to come through now with a 1-2 victory around Spa?
I mean, it's a track that me and Scars both like. I kind of mucked up the qualifying, but after that, we just drove our race and, yeah, managed to strap the way to 1-2.
Well, how are you feeling next week? I mean, Alfa Romeo now, you're going to be going to now next week, round 15, Temple of Speed. What does this race mean for you moving into that for the championship? And how are you looking for that race next week?
Italy is one I've liked in the past. Last season I got killed by the safety car, which was annoying, so I hope that doesn't happen again. But yeah, we should be able to get more good points for the team and try and close up on Azeran drivers and extend the constructors, which is our main goal.
Well, fantastic job today, Rampy. Of course, a big congratulations to you for the second place finish, and we're going to be speaking to Scars in just a second, and well, we'll be looking forward to seeing you next week in Italy.
Thank you.
Last but certainly not least, joining us now for a interview, and not just an interview, but it is a sweet victory. And as always, I give Unicorn the winners, but Scars, you and I spoke briefly before this race, as we always do, and you came to me with a solid prediction for a podium. Neon had you pegged for a win, and well, you came through with a win, so congratulations. And well, Unicorn, take it away.
Yeah, Scars, congratulations. Finally taking that top spot. I think it's fair to say the pace has been here all season long. How does it feel to finally stand on that top step?
Oh, well, today wasn't any easier. It was really hard, of course, with Angel at the end, but it feels amazing to have one like that where you really have to work for it. I mean, I think I should have had it earlier in Zandvoort, but I mean, it feels amazing to finally get a win. I mean, just amazing.
I mean, you know, I think we've all seen you've definitely got the pace all season. You know, you said that there's been a few missed opportunities, some completely not your fault, and now finally getting that top spot. You know, we saw last week P2 in Hungary, and then you go and get P4 in the tier 1 race. Now with the win, how much does this, you know, boost your confidence, boost your hopes, not only for, you know, next week's race, but, you know, there's still a lot of races to go for the championship as a whole. How much has this last 2 weeks been for in terms of confidence boosting?
Yeah, I mean, Hungary was really good, the tier 2 race. The tier 1 race was even better. And of course, you know, with Neon not there, I mean, there's basically an extra 7 points up for grab every race now. So that's really good. I know that I have the pace. You know, I got a lot of good tracks coming up. Of course, Azier has had like 2 DNFs in a row. And, you know, I've scored 18 and 25. So it's definitely on for the championship. But, you know, I just gotta be consistent with it. Then we'll get there, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. Really closing in, you know, taking advantage of that misfortune that Azir's been having recently. You know, you outscored Jake today, and of course Crampy as well, your teammate. And for the team, it's obviously a brilliant finish, that 1-2. Next week, Monza, how are you looking? Can you continue this run of form? You know, 3 podiums in a row, maybe 2 wins in a row. How are you looking forward to the Temple of Speed?
I think it's a good track for me, but I know that Jake is like really, really quick there, and he's like always practicing it. So I'm not sure if I can beat him, but you know, hopefully. I mean, he did crash in qualifying today, so maybe that happens again, and I can take advantage of it. But I mean, I think I'm feeling good for it as well. Yeah.
Well, Scars, again, huge congratulations. Finally, that top spot. That's all the questions I've got. I don't know if Striff's got anything he wants to add at the end there, but for me, huge congratulations. It's great to finally see you take that P1.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
That is it for Tier 2 racing action, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. I had a little bit of a mic issue there, but we are now just finished for the evening with Tier 2. We're back tomorrow with Tier 1, 8 p.m. British Summer Time. That's 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight, or 9 p.m. for those of you in Central Europe. And of course, feel free to check us out on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, as well as Instagram. We're on all the socials where you can find clips, highlights, guides, things of the sort. And well, we're going to be doing some giveaways and things like this soon, so make sure you get there to get in the know early. But that is all from me. Before, of course, we rate a member of the F1 community. Anything from you, Unicorn?
No, I just think that was a brilliant race, Shiv. I thoroughly enjoyed that one from start to finish. And Tier 1 tomorrow, you know, Neon's full-time debut. We'll see whether he can win it 2 weeks in a row, continue McLaren's good run of form. I'm very excited to see, you know, Tier 2, you always see those sort of trains in Tier 1, that closed action. We saw it here today, so that just bodes superbly for tomorrow's race. So I'm very much looking forward to that. But until then, that's all I got.
Good night, everybody. We hope you have an awesome, awesome evening.